And I'm live. Awesome. Hey guys, how you doing? This is the screen went blank and then it came back. So I'm glad that it looks like it's working. I want to get a little bit of just housekeeping stuff out of the way. This is my first webinar, so I'm kind of tinkering with the technology here myself. I'm going to be I'll do this webinar. It's going to take about maybe 20 minutes or so. If you have questions throughout, just ask them in the thing in the chat. And then what I'll do is I'll hit the chat up at the end. And if there happens to be any questions in there, I'll circle back to that and we'll get the questions. Otherwise, this is going to be so damn distracting. If I'm like, oh yeah, who's saying what? So like I mentioned, it should take 20 minutes. We're talking about how I bullet journal, and this is why I haven't done a podcast episode on it, because this is supremely boring. But this is going to be the quick and dirty way. This is how I use it. This is not the ultra big way that people use the bullet journal. It is how I am able to do stuff. And just for your frame of reference, it's who I was 5 years ago. I started bullet journaling about 5 years ago. So I would never be able to get the kind of stuff that I get done now at 5 years ago. I'd be lost in panic all the time and overwhelmed. And right now I'm in college, so I have a couple classes going. I've got the podcast. I have clients that I'm coaching one-on-one. I've got 2 kids. I'm a single dad. And then I even have another job that I go to. So there's a lot of stuff on my plate always. And if I didn't have a system in place, I would be living in ultra chaos, because I'm not even fucking counting the errands, the crap of life, right? Like groceries, DMV, all that stuff. So having a system in place is it's crucial for people, like for everybody, but for our types of brain especially. And I've tried all of it. So this is kind of how I came to bullet journaling. I've done all of the things. Like I was a big Franklin planner guy. I don't know if you guys remember Franklin planners. They they were so juicy. They're beautiful. They were well laid out. You'd buy it, there's like $50. You'd overspend because it's a Franklin planner. And it would have like all the pages and the whole year laid out. And that was amazing. And the idea of it is so hopeful and beautiful to me. And it was like, I'm going to put some dreams in there. I'm going to get it this time. I'm going to go for it. And then I would buy it and I would fill out all the data, like if this is found, contact Russ Jones, because, this is important stuff that's going to go in here. It's my life and I'm going to want you to get it back to me. I wouldn't fill it with anything. Maybe I would use it for a week. Maybe I'd use it for a month. But it just didn't work. And then I've tried the like at a glance, the ones that you get at Staples. I would try anything, even like the gurus out there that have their own planners. And, they're filled with motivational quotes at the top that I'd never read and ways to organize your day that I'd never do. And I would just feel like a big piece of shit because I couldn't do it. So those, long story short, those didn't work for me. I don't know if you can tell that based on what I'm saying. And then I've tried all the apps. I'm just not an app. An app is a small square buried in a sea of small squares on my phone. So I would get the app because it inspired hope out of me and it seemed user-friendly and it was like fun to play with for a day. And then it would be buried in my other squares, my other app icons. So they didn't work. Ultimately, all these systems do work if we use them. And that's sort of like the overarching thing of all this, which is the system that we use is the one that works. And I just happened to, the bullet journal, I connected to it and I simplified it and it works brilliantly for me. And so that's why I was like, okay, I'll share. This is how I use it. And if it works, it works. The reason why we need these systems I'm getting animated. Sorry. I'm like, here's why we need the goddamn system. We have ADHD, so we can't keep stuff in our head. That's the science, right? The neuropeptometers and the dopamine zizzle flickers and the cerebral cortex, they don't connect, and that's why you don't get to remember anything. That is just who we are. So in order for us to manage our lives, we have to get shit out of our head and in front of us where we can see it. And if you guys listen to the podcast, the biggest three things that I declare, I preach from the mountaintops, are we have to externalize our time, because time is conceptually really hard for us. I'll think that things take an eternity. That's why like the dishes are such a monumental thing. Dramatically, it feels like, wait, this is the rest of my life. I'm dishes person for the rest of my life. I can't do that. And I know that that's dramatic and wrong, and it's a 10-minute chore at best. But for some reason, the internal concept of time is all fudged up. The second thing that we have to externalize is accountability, especially at first. And even now, I'm 48 years into life, and I externalize. That's why I built the forum. The ADHD Big Brother forum is literally this giant room of accountability for all of us, because it's so easy for us to let ourselves down. I've been letting myself down for decades. What's one more time? You know what I mean? I'm not going to work out today because I don't feel like it. You know, I'm only ruining it for myself, and who gives a crap? But we don't want to let another person down, right? So I have a walking buddy on the weekends, and we walk around the Rose Bowl. Either one of us, if one of us can't go for some reason, we're not going because we're like, nah. But I don't want to let my friend down. So if he's ready to go, I'm going because I don't want him to be let down. And that's just the way it is. And then the third thing is our planning. And that's what we're here today to talk about, is our planning. We think we can conceptually keep everything in our head. I got all these ideas swimming around and all these thoughts, urgent ideas and plans. I got to remember to do that. Oh, that phone call, I'm going to make that later. Okay. Shit. What am I forgetting? I don't know. And so it's stuff comes and it goes, and it's all urgent and it's all chaotic. We have to get it out of our head in front of our face where we can look at it. And this is, well, I should have intro music. Guys, I didn't have a budget for this. What are we going to have dancers that come up? The bullet journal. The bullet journal. Look, I even buy it from the brand, from Bullet Journal. You don't have to. We'll talk about that. The bullet journal is the way to externalize your planning. And it's got to be one place. So here's my appeal to you as a person who may be like I used to be, where whatever room you're in, whatever thing you're doing, you write your thought down on whatever's in front of you with whatever writing utensils there, and then you put it down and got it out of my head. Then you go on with your day, and you're like, where did I fucking put that? Where did I put that thing? Where is that thing? And then how much time do we spend stressing out over what we're looking for? Oh, I was checking my blood pressure. I was tracking it. Where was I tracking it? It's in one of these 8,000 notebooks. And I'm going to leaf through that. I'm like, oh God. And then we stress out. I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I'm just going to start a new blood pressure checking thing. And then I'll lose that one. I lost my train of thought just getting all heated about that. That's normal for me. I am going to lose my train of thought and brain fart on you. Probably more than once. The one notebook, you need one notebook to rule them all. That's my Lord of the Rings thing. We need one notebook to rule all the notebooks. All those things that we write down everywhere, we need to compress that into one place. That way, we know where it lives. That is the bullet journal. Okay, so here's the thing about the bullet. This is the actual guy that like kind of has. His name is Ryder Carroll. He created sort of the system, and he wrote a 300-page book on it. I did read it, but I use maybe 10% of it. And that's literally, I'm condensing all this. If you want to go explore, I'm going to try all these other aspects of it. Great. The problem for me with doing that is that juice to have this ultra system that fixes everything and solves every little minuscule aspect of my life in this supreme, it is my way, my system, the ultra system, that fails pretty quickly. And then the whole thing is just scrapped into the garbage. So I'm going to tell you guys about like maybe 3 or 4 components that I use. I'll show you my bullet journal. It's sloppy. It's dumb. It's just chicken scratches, really. That's all that it is. And you can do this with anything. Okay. So creating the bullet journal is what I'm going to talk to you guys about now. And I have a couple of slides just to kind of show you in better form, but the bullet journal, it's a notebook. It's just a notebook. It happens to be called a bullet journal because I don't know if you can see that it's dotted, right? I like that because I can create grids and things like that. And it's not encumbered. It's not encumbered. It's not ruined by lines. And you could even use a blank notebook with no lines. You could get a freaking 99-cent notebook from the 99-cent store if they sell those at the 99-cent store. The difference that makes it unique to the bullet journal method, let's call it here, is that the pages are numbered. So that's easy enough to do if you have a regular notebook. Just either number them as you go or buy a notebook that has the pages in there. The biggest aspect of the bullet journal now that we're talking about, what's inside of it, how does it look, is the index page. And I'll put up the slide presentation here, but the index page is probably the biggest thing about the bullet journal that solves, I don't know how to put a percentage, 99% of my stress in life. And then 1% of it is my kids. Oh, those kids. You know how, like, let's do this. You have a psychology textbook. You're in a psychology class and it's a big 500-page book. And you're like, I need to look up stuff about ruminating thoughts. And so if you were to go into that book and just start looking for words, what section might be, you would be searching forever. And that stress would build. And you're like, this is such a waste of time. Grr! But if you flip to the back under R for ruminating, and you're like, oh, it's on page 50 and on page 75 to 78. Okay. Boom. And then you go right there. Think about that for your life. The index page in the bullet journal is the capturing of everything that happens in that bullet journal. And they typically put the index page in the front. And here, I'll show you. Here, let me start. I hope that you guys see that. Do you see that index page? I see it. Okay, so this is literally my current index page. I'm clearly at page 81 on my bullet journal. This is just to give you guys an idea. I zoomed it in bigger. But so as you're filling out your bullet journal, and we'll talk about how that looks, but I want to get the gist of it, because we think, oh my gosh, I'm working on my finances, and it looks like I did it on page 13. But then I fill up the page, and I finished working on it. And then 3 weeks went by, and I filled out pages and pages and pages of stuff. But then one day I wanted to work on my finances. And then I'm like, oh, well, it feels unnatural because I'm not putting it next to the other one. But in this case, I start a new page and I throw it back into the index, page 59. I don't know if this is hitting you guys as much as it hits me. That fucking changes everything for me. This makes the chaos that is my bullet journal and all the stuff that I'm filling into there organized. And you see, like, I have blood pressure. I am actually tracking my blood pressure. I tracked it all the way through page 16, and then I had to start a new one. And I didn't start it up again until page 80. because I kept filling it out. The index page is how we capture and organize all of our stuff. So now if I'm ever thinking, oh, I need to do my blood pressure. Okay, where's my blood pressure checking? I open up my bullet journal. I open up to the index page, which literally has 30, maybe 20 things on it right now. And I just scan for blood pressure. Life doesn't happen alphabetically, so it's going to be a Mod Podge. But how hard is it to read through 20 things and go bing, bang, bong, page 80? Oh God, that to me is just beautiful. I'm going to cry. Oh my God. Okay, let's look up. So then the day-to-day grind of a bullet journal is you kind of like how you would do anything, really. I think you'd add the date at the top. And this is a sample. This isn't actually for my bullet journal. I just made this up for you guys. But you put the date at the top because we're going to be following dates. And you just put a dot and the to-do, dot and the to-do, dot and the to-do. I put stuff that I'm wake up at 5:30. Yeah. And I did it. It doesn't matter. It's whatever I'm feeling like writing, I will write. And then as the day goes along, if I check my bullet journal and I notice that I did something, I'll put an X. If it's like, look, I had a client meeting from 10 to 11, but they canceled. Okay, I just draw a line through it. And then one of the looks like it says call Troy, and there's a right arrow. Like say you had something that you were going to do that day, but you're like, I can't do it that day. I'm going to do it tomorrow. Put the little right arrow. So then later on, when you're planning your next day, you can grab all those right arrows and bring them in. What else do we got here on? So throughout the day, the bullet journal it's a living, breathing thing that I continually add to. So there's my day, and now I've got podcast ideas, it looks like here. Oh, I got to do an episode on practicing shitty things in time increments. Oh, I'm going to write an episode on timers, on being cool with myself when I'm depressed. Okay, and so I write those down. Now what I'll do is at some point when I'm doing the indexing, I'll go, oh, podcast ideas, page looks like 85. Done. And now whenever I'm like, oh, podcast ideas. Oh, I had a podcast ideas on 85. Boom, boom. And I go there. And then when I'm planning the next day, there it is. I continually add to it. This eliminates this perfectionistic thinking that everything has to be clean and orderly and in line. Some days I'll do a fresh sheet on a thing, but for the most part, a question that just popped up to my head that someone might ask is I don't index dates because they're easy enough to find chronologically. You just, and then you can find that page based on the chronology of the date. There are things to be more advanced with the bullet journal. Like if you had a left arrow on an item, that means I'm going to do that in the future. I'm not going to do it tomorrow. I'm going to plan it for the future. And then you would do a left arrow, and then there would be another spot in your bullet journal for a future log. But it would be stupid for me to say that because I don't use it. I don't do it. So I'm not going to tell you about a thing that I don't use. This is about how I use the bullet journal. I keep it simple. Sometimes what I will do if I need to externalize, if I need to like zoom out a little bit and see my week, I'll create a weekly page spread. And that's what you see here. I use 2 pages to do it just so I can see the whole thing and it's not all crammed into one side. And then I'll create the dates like you see. And this is for things that I want to like, say there's a multi-step project that I want to get done by the end of the week. In this case, it looks like I did a podcast one. So it'd be like, okay, so if I worked on it 45 minutes on Tuesday, 45 minutes on Wednesday, 45 minutes on Thursday, Friday, it's a process. If I don't do that, sometimes I would fall into I'm going to record a podcast on Sunday. Oh my God, Sunday came and I better write one real quick and figure it out. This is a way for me to zoom out and go, oh, I need to chip away at this. And this is how I chip away at it. We know who we are. We are urgent, chaotic people. And if we don't see the thing in front of us, then typically we wait for chaos to tap us on our shoulder. There was something else I wanted to say about the weekly thing, I believe. I just insert the main elements. I don't do the day-to-day stuff. I do the important thing that I need to know. Maybe it's appointments as well. And then as I'm planning my day, I would refer to it. I don't do this a lot, just so you know. I don't do it for every single week. And then another thing that I don't do very often, but I will if I need to, would be the month view situation. I've been bullet journaling for, what is it? I think 5 years. And I've probably done this particular type of a thing 6 or 7 times. If I need to zoom out even more and I need to take a big look at my month, then this is how I would do it. And you're basically just your month view at the top, numbering it 1 to 30 down below. I put the days of the week as well, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, just for reference. And then in this one, I put a dollar bill. That's when payday is. That might be useful knowledge. I'm like, oh, yeah, and I'm going to get paid 5 times this time. Oh, that's going to be extra. That's going to be fun. And then for, in the forum, I have the my September goal in the forum, which I'm now reminding myself of. God dang it, is complete my meal plan. So this allows me to see, and I wanted to do kayaking on the 9th. I just made this for this thing. It would probably be more filled out than that, but if this appeals to you and you would get something out of it, it's worked for me when I needed it. But it's rare that I use that thing. The let me see here. I'm trying to figure out now how to undo the. Bear with me, y'all. Oh, there. I was trying to figure out how to turn off the. Did it look like? How do I do it? I'm trying to figure out how to turn off this fucking show. Oh my gosh, you guys. The thing about this is super easy. This is probably you look at this and you go, wait, that's all he's doing. This is all I'm doing. And I don't even use it to perfection every single day. The issue with this, with the way that we are, the way that I am, I don't know who you are. Why don't you email me? Tell me who you are. Is that if I complicate it, it will overwhelm me and I will self-loathe because I can't do it. And I'm kind of done doing that. The thing that works for me is to make as much as possible easy and do what I need to do, and that's it. And all I need to do is get information out of my head and in front of my face where I can see it. I don't create the beautiful spreads that you'd see online that the tweens are doing. Like you spend an hour making this beautiful picture of the month of October, and I'm just trying to move my life forward and get get things happening. And so it's like, okay, all the to-dos. A spread that might be good, which I do a lot of, is a brain dump. And so this would be you title it brain dump, and it's the vomiting of everything in my mind. And it's not a vomiting of a to-do. It's a vomiting of everything. It'll be like, I have to go to the DMV, have to wash my car. Why doesn't she love me? My kids need clothes. Like it's a mix of, ruminating thoughts of things that are bothering me, of things that I should get done, of goals, of dreams, of people I need to call. It's the chaos is just purged. And now it's in front of me and I can look at it and I can deal with it. But at least it's out and I know where it lives. And that would be the difference of not having a bullet journal. Getting things out on Post-its, on notebooks, on the wall, on everything is, yeah, you get it out of your head, but you didn't really hang on to it, right? It's out there living and hiding, and it'll come back and tap you on the shoulder over and over again. And you'll be like, oh, that's right. Oh, that's right. So that's the brain dump. And then I combine my bullet journal with the calendar app. And the reason I use the calendar app is because I need appointment reminders, and it integrates with the software where, if people are booking appointments, or if I have like a one-on-one client or something, it'll block out. It goes into like, oh, I have an appointment from 8 to 9. Oh, I have a webinar from 7 o'clock a.m. to 8 o'clock a.m. And it chunks my time. So then when I'm sitting down at night, which to actually fill in the bullet journal and plan, I would look at the calendar. Okay, what are my appointments tomorrow? Well, that's going to factor into my day. So how I actually plan my day would be either at night, the night before, I would sit down and I'd say, 9:05 dot, just wake up at 5:30, meditate, walk, and then all the things, and then the appointments. Or I would do it the morning of, or I would do it at noon, or I would do it at 3 and go, oh shit, I forgot to do it. And here's what I'm trying to get done from 3 o'clock on. It happens when it happens. I love routine. I love the idea of doing a thing at a specific time every day. And sometimes it happens and sometimes it doesn't happen. So that's me being full disclosure on the reality of these things. Is it's my thing that I use, and I use it as often as I can, and it aids me in getting my life moving, but I'm not perfect at it at all. It's a sloppy mess, but it's there. And I carry it with me everywhere. I take it all places except into the water. I don't want to ruin it. Okay. And I'm not going to take it in the water. But I have to have it everywhere with me so that if I have an idea, or if I have a thought, or if I need to jot down a phone number, I have a place to do that. So that is it. We have permission to simplify, make things as easy as possible. It is not the ultra complicated, crazy, and beautiful, overarching, beautiful organizational theory. It is, how do I just get this out of my head onto a thing so that I can use it, so that I can do the life thing that I'm trying to do. So that's it. That's the bullet journal method as done by your ADHD big brother, Russ Jones. Do you guys have any questions about any of this? This is my first rodeo at this. It feels like I rambled it all out pretty quick, but it's 20? Oh God, even that feels too long. But questions. There are questions. Although it works best for you, what about bullet journaling have you found is frustrating for you? I do like how I mumbled that, Kat. I'm reading your question. Okay. Oh, interesting. What about bullet journaling have I found frustrating? The frustrating part about it is, for me, it was the future logging. It was me attempting to try to make it into the ultra system. Like I was showing you, it's a 300-page book. There's so much cool stuff in there and so many cool ways to use the bullet journal. And so the frustrating thing for me was that I couldn't do it. And so I've unfrustrated it, if that makes sense. I've pared it down so simple that I'm like, this is all that I need. It's not what I want. I would love it to be bigger and better, but it's what I need. I hope that answers that. How do you add your list of 300 tasks from my to-do list app? Sandy, you have the to-do list app. If you're going to put that in your bullet journal, you would have your screen open and you would transcribe it. that's how you would add your 300 tasks. That's a lot of tasks. I would recommend to you, if you've heard of the Eisenhower matrix, is to take those 300, take a 45-minute work session and break down. You can Google the Eisenhower matrix. It's that grid where it's you're urgent and not urgent, and you're important and not important. And then you put those tasks in there and then dump everything that is not urgent and not important. Quickly handle everything that is urgent and important. Schedule all those things that are not urgent but important, because those are the ones that we typically, as ADHDers, we love to put those off because we're not motivated by them. We're like, nah, I'll do it later. And we'll wait for them to become urgent and, important. I'm using Todoist, but I made it too complicated. Do we need to minimize everything? I do. Sandy's saying I'm using Todoist.com, but I made it too complicated. Do we need to minimize everything? Be minimalist? Whatever you do, whatever it is that you will work. If you're making something too complicated and you're not doing it, then it's not working. Pare it down, pare it down, pare it down. Keep making it easier. And even as we're like, look, even if the dream, I'm like going through people, even if the dream is to be even if you really want to be this person who does a complicated system, start at the very, very, very beginning and only require yourself to do this bare minimum thing of it. And once you get the baseline aspect of it down, then add another element. And add another. So in the bullet journal case, it would be like, okay, I'm literally just planning my day and using the index page. That's it. And I'm only going to write down 3 main things that I have to do in the day. That's it. I only have to do 3 things. I'm going to cross them out when I do them, and then I'm done and I win. That would be a way to start. And then you're like, you know what? I'm going to try out this month view or this weekly view thing. And I'm going to see about planning a project that's not just a to-do item. It's a thing I have to do multiple times and do multiple work sessions on, and see how that feels. And I'll get used to that. I just build on the system as you go. It's just so hard. Like, we're such perfectionistic people, aren't we? Like, we're like, but I want to do all of it perfectly right out of the gate. I hope that helps out. How many times a day do you use your bullet journal? How do you remember to write in it? Well, that's from Paris. Paris, that's brilliant. I carry it with me everywhere. It's like my arm. It's like attached to me. I'm like a superhero, and it's like, and then I bring it out. So I know to write in it because I have it with me all the time. If I left it somewhere, I would forget I had it. So we're always in danger of that, right? We're always in danger of we leave it somewhere and it becomes another notebook that just went away. So I try to take it with me wherever I go. The other part of the question was, how do I remember to write in it? It's because I have it. And because I do have a day that has to be planned. So there is a driver to use it, if that makes sense. But this was probably like I have to think back to when I was first starting to use the bullet journal. It's getting into the habit of, I might recommend, like, when you wake up in the morning, just look at it. Set a timer, make it a part of, like, I brush my teeth and then I look at my bullet journal. Hey, you could, what do they call it? Habit stacking, where you add it to something that you already do. And that way you get in the habit of looking at it, even if you're not doing anything with it in that moment. You're constantly looking at it. I hope that answered your question. If I didn't ask, do a follow-up if you. Love or join. Sandy's in the forum. Guilove. The monthly goal section is a bit like doing. Everybody should join the forum. Honestly, if you guys want accountability, it's literally the greatest place ever. The monthly goal section is a bit like doing it online. Part of it, yeah. Very important. I have the weird feeling of keeping track of everything. This is stupid. Nothing is stupid. Why do I do that? Do you keep track of what you did last month? No. First of all, nothing is stupid. And I'll come back to this. Be cool with yourself always. I'm guilty of this too. You're just going to choke me up if you start talking about depression stuff, but self-loathing has no place in any of this ever. Our brains work the way our brains work. It's a fucking slog half the time. But it is what it is. And if we can accept that it is tough and then start working at things and be open with our questions, none of them are stupid. Like, one of my biggest fights is helping people realize that some of the remedial things that we do, we just haven't been formally taught. I think I talked about that on the most recent episode. We just didn't learn it. So we're learning these things. No big deal. Do you do all your brain dumps in your journal? Yes. Everything goes in the journal. I do not brain dump onto a Post-it note. I do not brain jump onto a sheet of paper. I do not brain jump on a train. I do not brain dump in the rain. I brain dump in my bullet journal. Everything. I don't have a diary. I write my inner conflicts and my emotional struggles in my bullet journal. Everything. I read Lenormand cards. I don't know if you guys are into Oracle card type stuff, but the Lenormand style, I love that. It's fun for me. I put that in the bullet journal. Everything. Kent Dean, Russ, when you don't journal for maybe a few days, do you have trouble getting back into it? No. And I think that's the thing of it, which is because it's so easy. I only ever have to just put the date, put a dot, put the thing that I'm doing. Nothing goes away. I just forgot to do it for a few days, which has happened. Big deal. It's not like, you know how I relate to it, Kent, is the idea of, where we go, I'm going to do a thing every single day in a row, like what we do in the forum, like in the Skull Spaghetti Club. I'm going to do this day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5. And then we hit day 7 and we forget and we go, oh, doesn't work. Guess the whole thing is a wash. It's not like that. It's just, nothing is lost. Nothing was reliant upon those 3 days that I missed it. I just starting it. From a place of acceptance, because I'm cool with myself, right? How do you work on monetizing goals? Monetizing goals. I tend to do 80% of work on fun projects that I get bored. Maybe I have problem with money. Is this ADHD? I don't understand monetizing goals. Making money off your goals or choosing goals that are money makers, that would be a prioritization thing. If you prioritize your goals, that would be that Eisenhower matrix. Google that, use one of those, and come at it from the standpoint of, is it my money making goal? And then you prioritize based on that. Don't prioritize based on mood. If we prioritize based on mood, it's always going to be Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom for me. It's always going to be that. It's always going to be hang out with my kids and do this thing. All those are great things and wonderful. But if I'm like, well, I have a 2-hour block of time. My kids are in school. What am I going to do with my time? I'm not looking at it from a standpoint of what's the funnest thing right now. It's what have I predetermined is important to me. And if that's your case, if it's your money-making goals, then there you go. And if you really don't want to do that thing, set a timer, specific, easy point of entry. There's a bill. This is about bullet journaling. The ADHD getting your shit done is probably a whole other webinar, but it's littered in the podcast everywhere. Did that cover that? You guys, are we good there? Any other questions instead of a pretty website? I kind of know that idea, Sandy, of like, this is fun and pretty and it has a potential. And if 1 million people jump in, I'm going to make $1 million. Let's go. I get that. I've done that for 1 million things. This is the bright, shiny thing in my life at the moment. I should probably take all of my savings and invest it in this. Oh God, it was a mistake. I know that feeling very well. And I think is there any other questions? If not, I've mentioned this a couple of times, guys. Here, you know what? I put this, the thing that, does that show? This is what I really believe in. I think maybe it pops up on your screen, which is the forum. I can't stress it enough, the importance of the externalized accountability on all of this stuff. So, doing the thing that we said we were going to do, the time that we said we were going to do it, and having that accountability and externalizing that in the beginning is such a big deal. And for me, it's huge. That's why I built the forum. And I can't recommend it enough. It does cost money. It's a very nominal amount of money in terms of what you get for it. And so you could try it for a month and be like, okay, I got everything I needed out of it. See you later. Great. But if you need that extra external accountability, I don't know of a better place outside of all your close friends. So if you're not using your friends, use the forum. All right, guys. That is that. I'll hang out for a minute here if you guys have any other questions. But thank you for coming to the webinar on the bullet journal. I hope you guys take a stab at it. If you do, email me. Let me know how it went. Or if you, obviously, if you guys have any other follow-up questions, you email me. I'm literally, if I can help you, I will. That's how I roll. And that's me doing the wave for no reason. All right, guys. You're welcome, Sandy. You're welcome, Lil Babe. You guys are awesome. Thanks, Kent. Appreciate it. And all right, with that, you guys have a fantastic week, and I will talk to you later.